Who doesn't enjoy a beautiful piece of coconut sweetbread on their breakfast plate with a cup of hot tea on a morning? Today's recipe will be coconut sweetbread the old-fashioned way with old-fashioned ingredients. And we will make this Trinbago style. In my bowl I am adding flour and I'm grating some tonka bean in this. Our grandparents used to love making sweetbread with tonka beans, and those sweetbread used to relish. And up to this day, I still make my sweetbread with tonka beans. So I've added salt and cinnamon, baking powder, and this is gonna be our dry mixture. We're gonna mix this and incorporate all the spices into the flour. You just cannot beat or could not beat your grandparents' sweetbread. So I have milk, I've added vanilla, fresh ginger, I just love ginger in sweetbread, and bergamot. The taste of the bergamot in the sweetbread that our grandparents used to make, it just stings my childhood memory back, and I still do it unto this day. I've added some melted butter, and now I'm adding the sugar and I'm whisking this in. The bergamot, I've grated these and froze the zest, and it's so flavorful that it can last for months and months. So I freeze them and put them in a little pouch, and I just use them when required so that the bergamot does not go bad. So add the wet ingredients into the dry mixture. Make sure you get all the brown sugar in there. I love brown sugar in sweetbread as well. I prefer brown sugar in sweetbread over white sugar because it gives it a really nice flavor. So I've added some cranberries, some raisins, and I'm using some fruits. These are glazed fruits, and they also have pineapple in them, and that's why I love this brand of glazed fruits. Some glazed cherries, coconut. Freshly grated coconut is best, but if you can't get it, it's fine to use the store-bought coconut, but I love freshly grated coconut, and I wish I had freshly grated coconut to use in this recipe, but I don't have any, but the sweetbread is going to be just as good. Something that a lot of people don't know about coconut sweetbread is that when you mix it really moist and it firms up overnight, it gives you the perfect texture. It's not crummy as when it's fresh, but it pulls and tightens, and you get the best texture sweetbread when you make it a little bit softer. But I don't like my coconut sweetbread too soft or too stiff, because when it's too stiff and it's cold, it's really hard like rock cake. And speaking about rock cake, you can look out for that recipe. And I also have coconut drops muffin on the channel as well. So I'm putting this in a loaf pan, and I can get one, but I will go for one and I'll put the rest of the batter in a small loaf pan, and that will give me two. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and let me know how your grandparents used to make their coconut sweetbread. What are some tricks and some hints that they did in those delicious sweetbread? Because our grandparents had some sweet hands. So what are some of the things that you would do that your grandparents used to do when making sweetbread? Adding tonka beans and bergamots are some of the traditions that I took away. So you could let me know down in the comments. On top of my sweetbread, I'm adding some of the glazed fruits. And we're going to bake this for about an hour and 20 minutes for the large one and 45 minutes for the smaller one. Our coconut sweetbread is done, and I'm glazing this with some glaze that I made. I will put the recipe in the description box along with the coconut sweetbread recipe. The only thing missing on this coconut sweetbread is some sweet broom bush that we used to pull and brush the sweetbread on a Saturday when they come out of the dirt oven. Now it's time for the taste test. And look at this beauty. So here you have it, the recipe for coconut sweetbread. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Did you know that coconut drops is popular in Trinidad and Tobago as well as Jamaica? The fact is, coconut drops in Jamaica and Trinidad are two different food items. In today's recipe, we are going to make coconut drops Trinidad style, but the muffin version. To my bowl, I am adding milk, 1 egg, and I am adding the aromatics to this. So we are going in with some vanilla essence, grated ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, white sugar, salt, brown sugar, grated coconut, melted butter. The butter doesn't have to melt completely, it can be softened just like this. I'm adding some coconut extract, which is optional because I like that artificial flavor of coconut, and raisins. The coconut drops in Jamaica and the coconut drops in Trinidad has very similar ingredients to it, but one is gluten-free. For our dry ingredients, we are adding flour and baking powder. Whisk it until it's nice and fluffy, because you want the inside of the buns to be very soft and crisp on the outside. In Trinidad, what is called coconut drops in Jamaica is known as sugar cake. We are adding the dry ingredients into the wet and mix it. This recipe does not take long at all. It's all about adding the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients together to get a masterpiece in the end. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, remember to click that subscription button. Please don't go before you subscribe to my channel. And let me know if you are enjoying my recipes. You want to mix this with a spoon, or you can go in and mix it with your hand, but I find when mixing it with your hand you get a lot of the batter stick up on your hands, and that is just for me a waste, because I want all my batter to go into this muffin tin. Usually when you make coconut drops, you just drop it on a tray and you bake it, and however it forms, so it gives a natural shape and a natural look. But I like making my coconut drops in a muffin style because it looks more classy, but I also enjoy it as the drop form. Big up to my Jamaican followers, and enough respect to my Trinidad and Tobago people. When adding these to the pan, you want to make sure that you have a nice little hump about 1.5 inches above, so that you get that nice muffin puff. And this recipe makes 12 muffins. And you will find the entire recipe down in the description box below. The glaze gives these a beautiful sheen and a really high quality professional look, just like you would in a bakery. You will be able to find a lot of bakery recipes on my channel. I will leave links in the description box. If you click that button just above there, you will find all my recipes for bakery items, including hot cross buns, cinnamon buns, and other recipes. The baking time for this recipe is 360 degrees Fahrenheit. for 45 minutes. And as I place these in the oven, I will be turning them around so that they bake evenly. So I'll be switching from side to side occasionally. I can guarantee you that if you try this recipe, you will not regret. Now it's time for the glaze. The glaze I will put in the description box. I did not show this on camera. I am pushing the glaze into the muffin so that all the creases have this delicious, flavorful vanilla glaze. I grew up on coconut drops and I just love them all. I love the Jamaican style coconut drops, coconut clusters, and I love the Trinidad and Tobago style. I love the crispiness of it, and be on the lookout for my coconut sweetbread recipe dropping very soon. You can also find the recipe for old-fashioned Tobago sugar cake, and I will leave the link in the description box as well. When our elderly made sweetbread long ago, they never used to brush it with brush. They used to use sweet broom bush. I don't know how many of you remember sweet broom bush. They used to go outside and pick it, dust off the dirt, wash it, and they used to use it with sweet water to brush the sweetbread. And so all this fancy pastry brush thing, for certain I did not grow up on that. Now I'm going to remove them out of the pan before they sweat at the bottom, because I want them to be nice and crisp. I'm going to place them on a cooling rack to continue to cool. As I mentioned before, one of my upcoming recipes will be coconut sweetbread the old-fashioned way, and I'll be using a lot of Caribbean ingredients that I grew up with, that the old people used to use to make the best sweetbread. When you have your grandparents and your parents were younger and they made sweetbread for you at this age, when you look back, you definitely cannot beat your grandparents' sweetbread. Now I can open it and enjoy. Nice crisp and coconut on the outside and very soft and flavorful on the inside. Hi guys, today's recipe is one of my all-time favorite sweet treats, where you get both the pastry and the sweet treat in one bite. And we are going to be making gizzadas. Right, to make our gizzadas, we're going to mix the dough now. And what I like to do is add half of the flour. And the flour is cold as well as the butter. And I like to add the cold butter. This is 3/4 cup of cold butter. And now I'm going to add the rest of the flour on top. It creates less mess to do it like this. And we're going to add salt. So we're coating the butter in the flour. And then because I don't have a pastry cutter on hand, I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to replace it. Because I don't have a pastry cutter on hand right now, I like to use a potato masher to mash the butter into the flour into small hazelnut size pieces before we add our ice cold water. So this is a very easy way, if you don't have a pastry cutter on hand, to mix the flour without making any mess. And in no time this is done. You're gonna mash it just like you're mashing mashed potatoes, and you're still gonna have those small pieces of butter in there. So we're gonna get the cold water. We have some cold ice water going here, and it's very, very cold. And we have some ice cubes in there as well. I placed it in the freezer and it got even more cold. So this is what we're going to use to make our pastry. Because I don't like to put my hands in cold pastry, most oftentimes I often use my mixer. I'm going to be using my rubber spatula for this. Outside is already cold. Pastries are very nice to enjoy, but this is a side that I really don't like. So we're gonna pull everything together and allow it to get to like a crummy meal looking texture, where you can still see the lumps of butter in there. Use a little bit of water until it comes together kind of tacky, and then we're gonna put it on the surface and then we're gonna work with it. Once it has some big lumps, once you press, as you're pushing the pastry together, it's gonna come together quite nicely. The larger the balls of flour become, it tells you that it's getting closer and closer to ready. And this is just about ready. Whenever it gets lumpy like this, it has enough water and it has enough fat, and it's just to push it together. So let's throw it out on the surface. And I'm just gonna push and squeeze, and it comes to a ball very fast. You gotta squeeze very tight. And this is good. So I'm gonna wrap this in a plastic wrap and place it in the fridge for about 40 minutes for the butter to get more cold and for the gluten strands in the flour to relax. We are using 1 grated coconut to make the filling. I prefer to use freshly grated coconut than the prepackaged coconut because of the texture of it. It's more moisture in this coconut. And this is ready. We're going to cook the coconut now, and we're starting off by adding some water, and you will find the entire ingredients list in the description box. And we're going to spice up our water and flavor it. So we're adding some vanilla essence, some cinnamon, 1 Caribbean bay leaf. The North American bay leaf is quite different, and this is the one that you will find in the Caribbean. This is very aromatic. I'm adding some butter, coconut, the coconut doesn't really have to cook long because it also goes into the oven. You just want to make sure that you have all the flavors going there. Sugar. I'm going to grate some nutmeg, about 1/4 of a whole nutmeg. And a pinch of salt to balance off the sweetness. And we're going to let this come up to a little simmer, and it's going to reduce. But you want to get all the coconut coated, and I'm going to cook it on low heat. Just because I'm trying not to add any more water to it. So I'm going to leave it open and allow it to simmer. I'm gonna leave this on the fire for about 1 more minute, and then it's gonna be just good. You don't want to dry it down too much, because if you do, it's gonna get hard on you after a time, and you don't want to do that. You want to leave just a little bit of liquids in there, not much, but just enough to keep it moist. And this is ready. We're gonna allow it to cool, and then we're gonna come back and prepare the pastry for the gizzada. We got 11 circles, and although I cut them like this, I'm still gonna give them an extra roll. These are done, and I opened them as wide as I could, but yet they are still even. And we're gonna tray, blind bake, and bake. We're gonna add 6 at a time. I believe it should hold 6. So these are ready, and we're gonna use a cookie cutter, but I'm using it on the soft side just to make a little imprint, so that they all are gonna be equal sizes, and I'll have everything looking nicely arranged. I'm gonna use 2 fingers open, U shape, and 1 in. I'm going to squeeze the edge, pin to the bottom so that they stay in the shape. As you're finished crimping the edges, you want to go back around and pinch so that it stays up. Other people would probably do it a different way. We're going to take a fork and lightly put some holes at the bottom, so that when we blind bake them, blind bake simply means pre-bake for about 10 minutes in the oven. They're not gonna puff up, but before I blind bake them, I'm popping them in the freezer to firm up the butter, and then I'm gonna pop them in the oven to blind bake. Adding 1 scoop of coconut per gizzada. And we're gonna distribute the coconut. While I am doing this, I just want to let you know that you can help me to make more good content by subscribing to the channel and giving the video a thumbs up. Also, you can comment in the comment section and click the notification bell so that whenever I post a new recipe, you will be the first to be notified. And we're going to pop these back in the oven for another 20 minutes, and then we're going to take them out. And here you have it, coconut gizzadas. Be sure to check out some more of my recipes, and thank you for joining. See you on another good day for another great recipe. Hello to all my new followers and my subscribers. In today's recipe, we are going to be making roly-poly, aka Salara, aka red cake, aka cut cake. For the recipe, I am adding warm milk that is warm to the touch, no more than 100 degrees, and I am adding 2 tablespoons of sugar to allow the yeast to feed on it so that the yeast can wake up and begin to activate. We're going to leave it here for 5 minutes. And once the yeast activates, then I am going in with some freshly grated nutmeg. I prefer to use a freshly grated nutmeg because all the oils are being released at this time from the nutmeg, and that's what you want to infuse with the warm milk to give your dough a nice aromatic flavor with the vanilla. So now I'm adding the rest of sugar. I'm going in with my flour. I am adding salt and room temperature butter. And I will leave the recipe amounts in the description box. So I am mixing this up. I'm mixing a very soft dough. And if it's too soft, you could add a little bit of flour. But you want the dough to remain soft, but not too soft because you don't want the juices from the coconut to flow out easily. Mix the dough for 6 minutes so that the gluten begins to form. And once you get to the third stage of dough development, which is this smooth dough, you want to leave it to rest for about 30 minutes, no more than 45 minutes. In the pot, I'm adding a 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 bay leaf, 1 tablespoon of dark vanilla, 1 tablespoon of ginger, and just a tablespoon of butter. The liquid in this is cold, so that it gives it time to infuse while the temperature of the stove comes up. And the coconut is going to take up all these aromatics. The stove is on medium heat. I'm going to cook the coconut kind of dry. As I mentioned before, I don't want the liquids to seep out of the roly-poly or the Salara or the red cake. In Tobago we say roly-poly. I want to make sure that the coconut cooks properly, but I don't want it to burn. So what I will do, as it's dry at the bottom, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of hot water, and when it dries out again, then I will add more. Because I want the coconut to cook properly. This is fresh coconut and it's not the store-bought coconut. So as I add the water to this, as it's dry like this, it's going to steam cook. And the aromatics of the bay leaf is going to get a chance to come out. Overall, I'm adding 1 cup of water to cook the coconut. The water has since evaporated, and I'm adding 1/4 cup of water, which will make now half. So we're going to allow this to evaporate as well as the coconut continues to dry cook. I went ahead and added 1/4 cup again off camera, so that would have been 3/4 cup, and this is the last 1/4 cup that I'm going to add. With this last cup, I am now going to add the sugar. And I am adding red food coloring. If your food coloring is bitter, if it's liquid, do not use it. You can use the powder coloring. But this brand is McCall's and it's totally no taste. It's a total no taste red. While I mix the red in, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel by pressing the word subscribe just under this video. Subscribing to the channel is absolutely free, and all it requires is just a little bit of kindness that would help me to make more content. I am also encouraging you to check out some more of my video, including coconut tart. I have a lot of local and international recipes on this channel that you can check out. You can also hit the thumbs up button and let me know in the comment section how you enjoy my recipes. Is there anything that I can work on? These are things that I would love to know. And if you listen to this song, you know that there's absolutely no water, but there's not enough sugar in here to make this crystallize. Unless you dry it out. But right now, the coconut has been cooking for about half an hour and it's very, very dry. It has since been 45 minutes and this is ready to roll out. And if you look at the skin, you know it's gonna seal all the coconut inside and the liquids. It sounds like sandpaper and already formed the crust, and this is the crust you're gonna get once it goes in the oven. I'm gonna dust the surface slightly to make sure that the bottom doesn't stick. I'm gonna pour this out. If you have a long enough tray, you can make one log, but because my trays are a bit short, I will make 2 different logs so that they both can go on one tray. I am rolling the 2 over again, lightly floured, not too much flour because too much flour can change the recipe. I am creating 2 balls, 2 dough balls, and then I am going to roll these out. I am rolling these out not too thin, about 1/4 inch in thickness, and I'm rolling them on the long side, the length side. That way I get more rolls. If you roll them out on the width, you will get less rolls, but you will have a longer log. Spread out the coconut because it has completely cooled, and you want to make sure that there's no liquid on the coconut, hence we use the dry cooking method so that nothing flows out. And you want to roll this very, very tightly. You can roll and squeeze if you like. I am using some water to seal the edges. You can use egg white or egg yolk, or you can use milk. And I am pinching the seams together so that the water becomes a glue with the gluten. Let me know in the comment section what you call this in your country. Many different countries call it a lot of different things. And in Tobago, where I come from, we call it roly-poly. And this was my favorite childhood baked item. It was my favorite because it tasted really good and you got a very big piece for a small price. I've sealed the ends by pushing them internally to get a flawless look, and you want to brush off any excess flour before you add it into the oven. But now I'm going to add this into the oven and bake them until they are nice and golden brown, and this should take about 35 to 40 minutes. These are what they look like on the inside. Nice and fluffy, very delicious, not too sweet. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome you. And if you have been here before, thank you for your viewership. In today's recipe, we are going to be making a very popular Jamaican Easter staple, and that is Jamaican Easter bun. If you haven't had Jamaican Easter bun and cheese, I can guarantee your Easter is missing something for sure. The flavor of these Jamaican Easter bun are definitely worth the try. To begin making our Easter bun, we have an array of ingredients. We have eggs and butter. We have the aromatics over here and the jam. We have our fruits over here. Over here we have spices. We have our malt, and we have flour, sugar, and baking powder. We're going to start off by sifting our dry ingredients. So we're adding some baking powder, salt, ginger, cinnamon, grated nutmeg, half of grated nutmeg, so now we're going to whisk everything together. The room is bursting with spices. I love hot cross buns and I love Jamaican Easter buns as well. Bun and cheese. And you can find hot cross buns on my channel as well. So we're going to go over here and we're going to sift the flour and the spices. This is going to give us a very light bun and take off all the lumps from in there. As you can see, some lumps in there. You could press it in. And this is our last batch. So we're going to put this off to the side and we're going to go in with our wet ingredients. We have two malt, different types. One is a tiger and one is a power, and I like to mix them. We have egg and lemon zest. Vanilla. Browning. This is homemade browning and you can find this on my channel. 2 tablespoons of rose water. Melted butter. And get everything in. So we're going to add some apricot jam. You You can use any kind of jam that you like, but apricot works fine for me because this is what I put in my black cake as well. I'm adding some sugar, brown sugar. And this is our wet mixture. And let's add the dry to the wet in small amounts at a time. I'm going to use the whisk and whisk it. And while I'm doing that, I am adding raisins, currants, I don't consume alcohol, so I don't put any alcohol in this. As it begins to foam up, then I'll add the rest of fruits. Add some more. I'm adding half of fruits in here. I'll add the rest on top. And this is done. I am using a food scale to add the butter because I want them to bake the same time. I'm putting them about half. 1,200. Get another 1,200. And then I'm going to distribute them, and this is done. A little bit of fruits at the top, not too much because it's going to make it very, very sweet. And then we're going to add one cherry in the middle. We're baking this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until a toothpick inserted will come out clean, and this should take about 45 minutes to an hour. We're making the glaze by adding some butter to a saucepan, some apricot jam, about 3 tablespoons, and honey. I'm putting this on the stove and it's gonna melt down. I'm gonna let it simmer for about 3 minutes, and this is what it looks like. If you are still watching this recipe, you can support me by subscribing to the channel and dropping a comment in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up and share, and this will help me and encourage me to make more content. These buns are done, and now we're going to brush them with the glaze and allow them to cool before we cut into them. Be sure to check out some more of my videos, including hot cross buns. I have about 7 recipes of hot cross buns on my channel, and the recipes will be down in the description box. I'm going to serve this up with some bun and cheese. These are amazing. And here you have it, Jamaican Easter bun. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Pot Spoon Kitchen. In today's recipe we are going to be making a mango passion fruit pound cake with a waterfall of mango passion fruit glaze. So subscribe to the channel and let's begin to make our cake batter. To start off our recipe, I have 3 passion fruit and I have 3 mangoes that I bought. These are the mangoes that are not high in fiber, but if you have mangoes that are high in fiber, it's totally okay. I've went ahead and cut off the pulp of the mangoes, and now we are going to make the puree. And I'm going to go ahead and puree the mangoes. This is ready. We have 40 grams of mango puree, which is needed for the batter. And I'm going to use the passion fruit and get the juice out of them. And there are different varieties of passion fruit. And I'm not quite sure what this one is called with the white pulp, but I'm accustomed to the one with the yellow pulp. We are now ready to make our cake batter. We have 40 grams of passion fruit juice, fresh passion fruit juice, and we have 40 grams of mango puree. We know that a pound cake is made up of 1 pound of butter, 1 pound of sugar, and 1 pound of flour. So we're going to add our softened room temperature butter, 1 pound, and we're going to add 1 pound of white sugar, granulated sugar. I'm going in with my mixer and we're going to mix this until it's creamed, fluffy, white, and increased in volume by about 2 times. And this is nicely creamed, and it took me about 5 minutes to do this. To this I am adding 1 egg at a time, and I'm going to mix in intervals. Whenever eggs and butter are creamed properly, this is what it's supposed to look like. It should not split, and you should not see the eggs floating or separating the butter from the eggs. And that is why you add it 1 at a time, so that the butter get a chance to expand as elastic to soak up 1 egg each time you put it in. So now we're going to go ahead and add the vanilla, the passion fruit, and the mango. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of white vanilla because white vanilla pairs well with the fruits. 40 grams of fresh passion fruit juice. And 40 grams of mango puree. I am adding 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And let's mix again. This step is completely optional. I have some golden yellow food coloring that I'm going to add a touch to it for some color. And it does smell like mango passion fruit. For the dry ingredients, I have 250 grams of flour, salt, baking powder. And I'm going to sift this. And before I mix this, I'm adding about 1/4 of fresh nutmeg. From here, I am mixing it with my hand for a very moist pound cake. The nutmeg has brought out back all the freshness of the mango and the passion fruit. If you haven't subscribed, please support my channel by subscribing and also commenting. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and like the video. You can also share, which will help me to grow and reach more people and create more unique recipes. And this is nice, smooth, and this is ready to go. I lined my baking pan, high lining, so that the pound cake can rise as much as it wants to. And we're going to pour this in here. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth off everything evenly. For the glaze, in this bowl I have 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. To this I am adding 2 tablespoons of mango puree and 1 tablespoon of passion fruit juice. We want to keep that natural consistency and the natural flavors of the mango and passion fruit to enhance the overall flavor of the cake. 2 more tablespoons of mango puree. And the glaze is done. So we worked so hard and it's time to take a cut out of our pound cake. And this is what it looks like inside. And here you have it. Mango passion fruit pound cake. Thank you for joining. See you on another good day for another great recipe.